All right, I'd like to do another demo using random and if statements. We're going to do a Minecraft fishing simulator. And it's just a little bit more of a complex simulator. We'll look at nested if statements, which are just if statements inside of if statements. And the main idea here is just a simple, we select the character, and then we click fish. And the idea is we're going to get a raw cod, a raw salmon, tropical fish, or a puffer fish. And we'll keep running totals as well, right? Every time we fish, we'll add it to the totals. So this is just a start code. It's not working yet. My goal is to do these two characters, and then for you, for a little practice, is you can add the villager. In the notes here, you'll see that in terms of the probabilities, when the character is Steve, I like Steve to have a 70% chance of catching a cod. So when we do math.random, we get a number between 0 and 1. So when that random number is between 0 and 0.7, that's 70% of that area will catch a cod. 20% chance of catching a salmon. So from 0.7 to 0.9 is 20%. That'll be a salmon. From 0.9 to 0.95 will be 5% to get a tropical, and then 5% from 0.95 to 1 to get a pufferfish. Okay, so let's just start with Steve. I've got some start code here, so get that start code and you can code along with me. In the start code, I've got all the HTML here. That select element, the images for the characters, the fish button, the result image, and then here's all the totals, right? The num puffer, num salmon, num tropical, etc. Okay, that'll start off at 0. And then here, I think, I just added the event listener on that button. Okay, let's make this a little bigger. All right, so let's just start with Steve. So simulate let's go Steve fish simulator. Okay, so again, the key here is that I want to do this, it's a probability thing. So we need our random number. So I'm going to create a variable called random, call it whatever you want, but it just seems to be a common one that I use, a random number, which is going to be math.random. Remember the parentheses in order to invoke it. And see when I hovered over it, right, returns a pseudo-random number between 0 and 1. Okay, now that we have our random number, we need to test it. And the first thing I need to test is I'm just going to check, we know it's between 0 and 1. I'm going to check if it's less than 0.7. Right, if it's less than 0.7, I know it's somewhere in this range. So if random is less than 0.7, then let's start just doing the console cod. Okay. Now I'm going to do an else if, right? I want to change selection statement. In fact, let's do all of it. I have 4 possibilities, right? 4 different types of fish. So I would do another else if, and then my last one would be an else, right? 1, 2, 3, 4 possibilities. So cod, the next one I think was salmon. Let me check the diagram again. Cod, salmon, tropical, and then puffer. So console.log, tropical, and then my final else will be puffer. Just for testing purposes now, we'll just do console.log. Okay. So those are my 4 possibilities. The first one for catching cod is if my random number is less than 0.7. But if that's not true, I go to this else. So in that else, I know that it's not less than 0.7. So I know that it must be somewhere in here. So all I need to check now is, like, I already know that it's greater than 0.7. This is a common mistake people do, is they'll go, oh, else if random is greater than 0.7. We don't need to test that because we know that this is false, right? The only way I'm going to get to this else is if this is false. My random number is not less than 0.7, so it must be greater than or equal to 0.7. So you do not need to check that. You just need to check if your random number is less than 0.9, because that's the next breakpoint, right? If it's less than 0.9, I know I'm somewhere in here, and that's my 20% probability of catching a salmon. And then the last one is we just, well, if this isn't true, if it's not less than 0.9, I know I must be somewhere in here. So I'm going to check if I'm less than 0.95. So if the random number is less than 0.95, then I'm going to catch a tropical fish. And if that's not true, I must be in this last little section here, right from 0.95 to 1, and then it's a puffer fish. So let's just do a console.log of rand num just to confirm what's going on here. So I hit fish, 0.26 is a cod, 0.5 is a cod, 0.2 cod, which makes sense. I'm getting more cod, 70% chance of getting cod. Oh, wow. Okay, good. 0.77 is the salmon. Cod again, cod. Oh, 0.979 is the pufferfish. Okay, so this looks like it's working great, right? With all those different boundaries. Let's see if we can get a tropical fish. Salmon. Oh, that was close. Puffer. Puffer again. Come on, tropical fish. That's between 0.9 and 0.95. Oh, there it is. Yep, 0.96. Or sorry, 0.93. 96 is a puffer. Okay, good. That looks like it's working great. All right, so that's the main idea. You get a random number, and you test that random number using your if statement. Now, the only thing left to do for Steve is just make things look a little nicer. So the first thing we'll do is I want to replace this image. What do I got here? Got a bunch of images here. Right now it's a fishing rod. So we want to replace it with whatever image that we want to have here. So let's go to our HTML for a second. Sorry. Open up the HTML here. And the ID is result image. I'm going to copy that. So we'll just go documents.getElementById, result image, and oh, how do I want to do this again? Oh yeah, you know what? We can actually edit the source of this image, right? This is the source attribute. You can go dot source and assign it to be the new source that we want, which is going to be the string raw cod.png, right here, raw cod.png. Okay, and then I'm going to copy and paste that, but this time we want raw salmon, and copy and paste again. This time it's called tropical fish. And in here, puffer fish. Not very consistent naming though, no hyphen on this one. Whoops, hit something wrong there. Pufferfish.png. And we can get rid of, I'm just going to hit Control X to get rid of all those console.logs. And hopefully, oh, yeah, oh, of course. This source needs to be looking inside the image folder. So img/ in order to tell it to look inside the image folder and then find the proper image. Ta-da! Awesome. So cod, still cod. Oh, there was a salmon there. Salmon, oh, pufferfish. Cool. So now we can see the results here. There was a tropical in there. Now the last step here is to get these tallies, right? The running totals. So for that, let's create some variables up here. Fish count variables. I'll give a little title. And let's just have a num cod and initialize it to 0. Num salmon, initialize it to 0. Num tropical, and num puffer. And these will all run at the beginning of the program and initialize them to 0. And then when the button's clicked, we can add to these. So really straightforward, right? We just go num cod. Remember, we can do this 3 different ways. Num cod plus 1, right? Take what's currently in there, add 1 to it, and save it. Or you can do plus equals 1, or you can do plus plus. Okay. Now this changes the variable, but we need to actually update on the screen. So we need to get this element and set it to be the new number of cod. So that variable is the ID num-cod. Okay, good. So we'll just go documents.getElement by ID num-cod and set its inner HTML to be numcod. Okay, and then we'll do very, very similar stuff here. Num salmon plus plus. Whoops, document.getElement by ID num salmon dot inner HTML is assigned the new value of the variable num salmon. Here too, we'll do num tropical plus plus. Whoops, get animations, get element by ID num tropical, like so. And last but not least, I probably should have copied and pasted num puffer plus plus and document.getElement by ID num hyphen puffer num puffer. Now, maybe I did that correct, or maybe I typed something wrong. We'll find out. All right, boom. Caught a cod, raw cod 1. Caught another cod. Caught a salmon. Oh, this is looking good. Another cod, salmon, oh, tropical fish, some more cod, salmon. And it looks like the probabilities are working, right? 70% chance of getting cod. And 20% chance of getting salmon. Okay, come on, pufferfish. Oh, hey, there's a pufferfish. Another salmon, another tropical fish. Yeah, that looks good. Okay, cool. All right, I'm going to stop the video here. One last thing we could have done here is to clean up our code a little bit. Is we could have created variables for this result image, especially maybe these output variables as well, just to clean up the code so it's not quite as long. But I'll leave that up to you if you want to do that or not. Okay, I'll stop there. In the next video, we'll get selecting the different characters, Steve and Alex. Okay, hope that made sense. Take care, and we'll see you in the next video.